Do you ever shoot an entire video, almost half an hour of footage, and then realize you're out of focus by that much? That's me. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Motley show, where I take one of the news stories out of the political cycle, pull it out of the echo chamber, and see if we can find out what the real facts are. Reason being, the more informed we are, the more invested we can be in our government and hopefully make it work better for us. So this week, there was a lot of people talking about a new bill that was passed in Oklahoma. It is actually on its way to the governor's desk. This governor, Mary Fallin, who hasn't said yet that she will or will not sign it, but she has supported bills like this in the past. Now, what are those bills like this? What is like this? What is this? Those are all good questions. The bill is SB 1522, and what it aims to do is actually make it illegal for any doctor in the state to perform an abortion, almost exclusively. There is an exception in there for the life of the mother, but it is a very small exception. They've actually made it known inside the bill that a woman who is threatening to commit suicide, a woman who is saying she will kill herself, that is not considered to be a threat to the life of the mother. Not sure how that works. I imagine what they're thinking is that if they give that loophole, women are just going to come in all across the state threatening to kill themselves so they can get abortions. Not likely. But let's continue. Now, any doctor that is actually caught performing an abortion, the minimum punishment for them would be 1 year in jail and stripped of their license. Now, some of you out there who follow the law a little bit, or even those who don't, have probably heard of Roe versus Wade, the landmark bill that actually made abortion legal in the country. And you might think this bill, SB 1522, is actually going directly in contradiction with Roe v. Wade. How is that constitutional? The answer? It's not, and evidently the legislators in Oklahoma don't care. They know, and the opponents of this bill know, that it will instantly be challenged if Governor Mary Fallin signs it into law. When one of the Democratic opponents to this law actually mentioned that during debate on the floor, presenting the question, hey, we're Oklahoma, we are actually in huge financial trouble. How do the people supporting this bill actually expect to pay to defend this in court over the years that it will take to probably get this up to the Supreme Court, where we will most likely lose? Where's the money coming from? Representative Dave Brumbaugh had this comment to say about that: if we take care of the morality, God will take care of the economy. You think I'm just made of money? For people out there that actually want to read the bill, I've put a link to it down below. And take the time to do it. There's really something beautiful about how these bills are written in such a way to make it so immensely boring that you will never possibly get to the part that violates your rights. And one of the most interesting things about this bill, the bill begins talking about doctors and unprofessional conduct. And then they go page after page defining what unprofessional conduct means. And it means a lot of things in this bill. It's a huge umbrella term. Now, you would think the abortion part, being pretty important, would be up at the top of the list. That would be the first thing they would say. Hey, by the way, here's the biggie. We're making abortion illegal. Any doctor caught, boom, jail. Not quite. Abortion is actually really far down the list. Above abortion, there's misleading advertising, not adequate office records, having sex with your patients. That actually could be one of the causes of why they'd want an abortion. Yeah, that and more. Tons of stuff listed way above abortion, and I believe it's on purpose, so you keep going through all these things that don't really seem like a big deal, things that doctors shouldn't be doing anyway, and then finding something they legally should be protected to do. But by that point, you've bored yourself to sleep. Now, Dr. Mark DeFrancesco, who's actually the president of the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, ACOG. ACOG sounds like a boss at the end of like one of my old D&D adventures.
I am ACOG.
He had this to say about this particular bill as it makes its way to the governor's desk. Healthcare decisions should be made jointly by patients and their trusted healthcare providers, not by politicians who lack medical training and who clearly do not have women's best interests in mind. Now, where might you have heard that? Does that sound familiar to anyone? It's almost word for word, minus the woman part, what the opponents of Obamacare were saying for years when it was actually getting passed into law. They screamed from the rooftops that the government should never get in between doctors and their patients. But now, it's just fine. Evidently, it's bad at a federal level, but it's totally fine for the state government to get in between you and your doctor. I just love hypocrisy. This isn't the only time by far that state governments have actually made it illegal for doctors to either provide abortions or to even tell the truth about abortions to their patients. Back in 2015, Arizona passed a law that legally bound doctors to tell their patients that if they were choosing a medically induced abortion, that it could be reversed. No, it can't. Not a chance. The people presenting this bill are actually basing all of their evidence, all of their science, on this one doctor. Dr. George Delgado, who has said that he has actually saved a number of pregnancies after women have began the medically induced abortion process. And he says, I can reverse it. I can save women from making this terrible choice, even after they've made it. Now, going back to that other group we mentioned before, the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, yeah, they've looked into this guy too. And one of the things he doesn't mention when he talks about these reversals is that medically induced abortions are two-part processes. There's one drug, this one, which I can't pronounce, and women take that to actually terminate a pregnancy that's only up to 7 weeks. Now 2 days later, they take another drug, this one, I also can't pronounce. I'm not going to be a doctor. And that one basically finishes the process. Dr. Delgado actually says that if you replace that second drug with progesterone, which is a hormone, that it can reverse the process, that women can then get their pregnancies back on track and have normal, healthy babies at the end. And he says he's done this time after time, and that's his proof. But actually, there isn't any proof, because you could get the same effects that he's getting 30 to 50% of the time just by not giving the women the second drug at all. The progesterone doesn't do a thing. Women stopping the process by only taking the first and not taking the second have just as much of a chance to go back to a healthy pregnancy as if they go with this doctor. He's not doing a thing. And if you actually take both steps together, it's not reversible. But again, people's belief that they need to outlaw abortion completely nationwide really gets in the way of facts. So they try to find a way around them. Now, ever since 2010, when the Republicans took over both houses of Congress and a lot of state congresses, there have been a massive amounts of anti-abortion bills. Hundreds upon hundreds of them. Now, many of them do get stopped, but a large number of them get passed, and it is getting harder and harder for women to actually have legal access to this legal right. Now, I'm always of the opinion that it's fine for you if you have a problem with abortion and you don't necessarily feel it's right for you and your family. That's fine, but you don't have a right to tell another family what's right for them, especially what's right for another woman. It's her body. And until you actually go the legal way, go all the way up and change the law, overturn Roe v. Wade, make it illegal across the country, all of these roundabout trap laws that are created, things about making the sidewalks in front of abortion clinics bigger to be safe, it just seems cowardly. It seems offensive to the face of their fight, because they can't do it up front. They could never go fully against abortion at a federal level because they know they'll probably lose. But what do you guys think? Not in a question of is abortion okay or is it not okay, because that's really a bigger discussion. But what do you think specifically about this idea of making it illegal for a doctor to actually do a legal procedure, a federally protected procedure? Do you think this bill should pass? Do you think that should be okay at a state level to control abortion like that? Or does it still stand as a federally protected right? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So thanks again for watching another episode of the Motley Stew Show. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so below. That'd be great. You can also like, favorite, and share this video with anyone you know who wants to take part in the conversation. Make sure to tune in next week. And as always, here's the kids.
Liam. Liam, what are you doing? Hey. Liam. Hey. Ooh, shiny. What is that?
Focus. Focusing. Focusing. ACOG sounds like the boss at one of my old D&D adventures. Face scratcher. D&D. Legally.